Hi, Jay. This is Nathan from Vancouver, Washington, and it's been a while. And partly because I listened to the free speech episode, and while I agreed a lot with Dan Carlin and the classical liberal, the Antifa he just sounded like a psychopath. Free speech is only free if you can say things that offend people. You don't need freedom of speech to say things everybody agrees with. These guys need to watch for concept creep. The Antifas are basically saying that because I disagree with you, I can make 6 degrees of separation between you and the Nazis. I'm going to jump straight to brown shirting you and silencing you and beating you up. So they're jumping straight to violence when they're claiming these guys are some precursor to violence. Second, how do you know what a Nazi or a fascist is and why it is wrong without being exposed to the content of those ideas? It's because I explained to somebody what a Nazi believes that we know that being a Nazi is a bad thing. Free speech also isn't just the right to express ideas, but also the right to hear and evaluate ideas for yourself. Who do you trust to decide which ideas you get to hear and which are too dangerous for you to evaluate on your own? How do you know if new evidence would have proven them wrong if those people have the power to suppress those ideas? Who watches the watchman in this case? It's arguable that they took the wrong lesson from history, and that history shows that the most dangerous movements are not always the ones with the worst ideas, but the ones that can end conversation and destroy the course correction it provides. Mao and Stalin killed far more people than Hitler, but mostly because dissent of any kind was as evil and stifled. Not necessarily the rifles and the gulags. It's the suppression of the conversation to say, maybe instead of making steel in our backyards, we should be making food. People starve to death by the millions because of simple things like not being able to raise your hand and say, hey, wait a minute, I think we might be able to do this differently. So that's just something to keep in mind. My daughter goes to one of those schools that had one of these violent outbreaks, and she just wanted to hear what the guy had to say. She has the right to hear things and evaluate on her own. The idea that this, people stifling free speech like this, it's not the government, it's insane. It's like lynching. It's the same as lynching. You're saying, I'm going to get rid of your right to speak and your right to hear because I have deemed that you are not worthy to make either of those decisions. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it. And I hope that you reconsider your respect for this Antifa psychopath, because he's claiming that you don't have the right to say things and you don't have the right to hear things.